They existed on opposite sides of the same concept: darkness. Pennywise was not born. He appeared long before fear had a name. His true form had no shape, only a cold light beyond human understanding, known as deadlights. Everything else, the clown, the beast, the nightmare, was just a mask. Pennywise never attacked right away. He waited because fear matures slowly, and the longer it grows, the more satisfying the prey becomes. His strength did not lie in his claws or teeth. It lived in doubt. Pennywise could weaken his enemy before they even realized the danger. He knew how to bring their deepest fears to the surface, turning them into reality. Against an ordinary person, it was an absolute weapon. Fear paralyzed, broke the will, turned resistance into an illusion. In such battles, Pennywise took no risks. He simply waited for his victim to break down on their own. But this same source of strength was also his main weakness. Pennywise existed on the reactions of others. Where fear did not arise, he lost his footing. His forms became fragile and his influence unstable. He did not know how to fight those who did not need illusions to accept their darkness. The werewolf was the complete opposite. He did not deny his nature or seek justification for it. His strength was raw, physical, without philosophy. Muscles, reflexes, speed, everything about him was designed for survival. Unlike his cursed and insane brethren, the strongest werewolf retained his sanity. He did not lose himself in rage. He used it. Fear did not weaken him. It became fuel. Every blow, every wound only accelerated his movement. His regeneration made pain a temporary inconvenience rather than an obstacle. In close combat, he was a nightmare for any physical being. Where speed and determination mattered, the werewolf left almost no chance. But his weakness was obvious. He belonged to the real world. He could be wounded, slowed down, destroyed, if the right method was found. He did not control reality or distort space. If the fight dragged on and turned into a psychological game, the werewolf risked finding himself out of his element. When these two clashed, the outcome of the fight depended not on the force of the blow, but on who would impose their rules. Pennywise started with what he knew best, trying to break him. He brought out images of loss of control, loneliness, turning into a monster. For a human, that would have been the end. But the werewolf didn't turn away. He recognized himself in these images and didn't flinch. Acceptance deprived Pennywise of his leverage. At that moment, the cosmic being's weakness became apparent. His power required distance and time, but the werewolf acted here and now. He did not allow fear to become the battlefield. Physically, Pennywise could not be destroyed completely. His essence went deeper than any form, but he could not win either. His forms lost their stability because his opponent did not feed them with fear. The werewolf did not defeat evil, but pushed it out of reality, depriving it of the opportunity to hunt. So the battle ended not in death, but in exile. This outcome was logical. Pennywise defeats those who are afraid to look inside themselves. The werewolf survives because he did so long ago. And if a battle arises between them again, it will not be the force of the blow or the antiquity of the essence that will decide everything, but one question: which of them will impose their nature on the other, fear or acceptance? Pennywise did not disappear. He retreated, and for a creature of his nature, it was not a defeat, but a pause. Reality closed in where he had dissolved, like the surface of water after a stone had been thrown. The forest became a forest again. The birds began to sing too early. Dawn came not on schedule, but as a defensive reaction of a world that had survived an alien presence. The werewolf remained standing. He did not chase. He knew that such creatures do not run away. They remember. Inside him, the rage slowly faded, giving way to clarity. His body was healing its wounds, but his mind remained alert. He felt that the battle was not completely over. It had simply moved to another plane, one where claws were useless. Pennywise was also thinking. In the space between worlds, where form was meaningless, he encountered something new for the first time in a long time. Not bravery, he broke that. Not madness, that was his element. Pennywise pondered too. In the space between worlds, where form didn't matter, he encountered something new for the first time in a long time. Not bravery, he broke that. Not madness, that was his element. He encountered wholeness, a being in which darkness did not conflict with reason. It was irritating. Pennywise realized that the werewolf was dangerous not because he was strong, but because he didn't fit the rules of the hunt. He wasn't a child, he was not a victim, he was not a creature torn between fear and the desire to survive. He could not be lured with promises, he could not be intimidated with images, he could not be deprived of support because he himself was his own support. And yet the werewolf still had a weakness, not fear, affection. He was part of the world. He existed in it, protected it, felt its rhythm. He couldn't distance himself from life the way Pennywise did, and that was exactly what the creature from the depths was going to use. Nights later, the werewolf began to notice changes. Not nightmares, too crude. These were dreams without horror, calm, almost warm. There was no blood, no pain, only a sense of loss that had not yet happened. A forest without smells, silence without threat. A world in which his presence no longer mattered. Pennywise was changing his strategy. He was no longer a hunter. He became an idea. The werewolf didn't realize it right away. But one day, looking at his reflection in the water, he saw neither a beast nor a human. He saw the void between them. And for the first time in a long time, he felt not fear, but doubt. And it was at that moment that Pennywise came closest. Not in form, not in words, but in a question. What if one day you get tired of being strong? The werewolf clenched his claws. The water trembled. He realized that the next battle would not be like the previous one. Here it was impossible to rush forward. Here it was impossible to win by force. Here he had to stand his ground within himself. And while Pennywise waited for a crack, the werewolf did what he did best. He didn't run from his darkness, but he didn't let it control his choices either. It was slow. It was difficult. And that's why, for the first time in centuries, Pennywise wondered which of them was really the hunter.